there are women who feel like, you can't tell me what to do at the end of the day. I make this much amount of money. I'm successful. I'm this. Like, now you gotta, it's either you get with the program or get left, buddy.
I'm glad you said that. Because to go a little bit back, number one, as a man, as a real man.
And welcome back to Filter What?
Filter What Podcast. Let's get it.
Hey, what's up? It is your girl Satti, and you guys know the man to the left of me.
What's up, guys? Dash. Let's get it. Let's get it.
And welcome back to Filter What?
Filter What Podcast. What's up?
What's going on?
How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. Look at you. Look at all summery-ish. I'm feeling it.
Appreciate it.
I like this. Okay.
Right. What's up, though? What we talking?
Ooh. So we are going to discuss being submissive.
Okay.
Definition of it. Have you, been in situations, and what's your definition? Because I know a lot of people have their own terms. Mm-hmm. So
I think allowing yourself to submit to a person. I
guess. Okay.
But that's how I would define it. But I feel like it could go both ways. Like, a lot of people put this spin on it, this negative thing on it. But if you really think about it, I don't think it's negative. What do you think?
Like you said, it can go both ways. Mm-hmm. It's not negative in a relationship per se. Mm-hmm. It all depends on how you look at things. So say you're submitting to your partner. It can be in a sexual way, or it can be in the relationship in general. Are you willing to do certain things that your partner asks you to do without it being an issue, or you feel like, your partner is being the authority, figure or whatever in your life, or, in the bedroom, are you able to follow directions? Are you able to listen? Are you?
How do you feel about that? About both? I
like it. I feel like it also build structure in a relationship. So as far as in a relationship in general, I think, why not?
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like the person's trying to be your parent or whatever, higher authority or anything. It's just certain people have certain likings or whatever, and you have to understand when you're in a relationship, you have to come together. You have to come together. There are certain things that you have to how can I put this? Compromise. Sacrifice. So
okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I think what's more important though is what a person brings out of you. The person that you're with, the characteristics that they bring out of you. Because everyone here submit or being submissive, they automatically have these thoughts about certain things. But I think for a woman to be submissive to a man, a real man, it's kind of goes without saying. You know who you with, and it's like an unspoken thing, and you feel like you can volunteer yourself to be this way for this person because you want to, not because you feel like you have to, or not because you feel like they're demanding you to. I feel like men that demand stuff, no, you need to listen to me. This is how. Yeah. That is there's an insecurity there.
Right.
That's not some real, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said, it goes without saying, the way the person carries themselves, it makes you want to be this way to that person. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
For me, that's what it is. I never went into a relationship or partnership yo, these are my ground rules. This is what you have to do. I can't tolerate this. You just get to know me. You know my vibe. I get to know you. I know your vibe. And then I might volunteer to be a certain way. You might volunteer to be a certain way because we want to. You know what I mean? So to me, that's what it is. That's more important.
Right. Exactly. No, absolutely. I feel like you have to create that space and that, that environment in order for the person to even feel comfortable enough and to understand that it's not about being the authority, or you got to listen to what I got to say or do whatever. But it's more so if you create that space for me to be comfortable, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You're important to me. How you feel, what you think or whatever. It's also important to me. So, if you dislike something or if you take liking into something, why not participate as well?
Yeah, and I think that's more important. And okay, so what are some things that will make you feel like you can be submissive?
If my partner knows how to lead,
okay.
I feel like that's very big. If you can show that you know how to lead in a relationship, and I don't have to hold your hand, and don't get me wrong, I'm an alpha female, but I know when I can step back. But if you, like I said, it all depends on how you make me feel.
Right.
So if you're creating this space where I feel like you don't know how to lead in a relationship, you don't know what you're doing, and there are certain things like you don't respect, I can't submit to you. I don't respect you on that level anyways, enough for me to,
right.
do all these things.
Got you.
Okay.
So a person being able to lead. I think these might coincide and be the same things, but I think making a person feel safe.
That's also, yeah.
Also a person that you can trust, like trust their decision making and like their judgment. Like if you can I just think it's a man's job off top to make a woman feel safe.
Absolutely.
Like if you go out with somebody, and I was talking about this the other day, if you go out with somebody or you go out on a date, a first date, and you don't feel safe, then it's like,
exactly.
Like what? Have you ever been in a situation where you was with a man and you didn't feel safe?
I've been in a situation, yes, definitely, where it was just the environment, the aura, everything. And I had said to myself, I'm like, being that I feel off and it just doesn't feel right, I know myself, I'm not going to want to submit to you. I'm not going to want to listen to you or anything like that.
So he didn't make you feel safe?
No.
So what capacity? Because safe, I feel like there's levels. Obviously, the physical. If you out and God forbid something, altercation happens, can I feel safe with this guy?
Right.
Not that everybody has to be a fighter, but
right, exactly.
And then also it's like bringing it down a notch. Like, can you feel do I feel like this guy would speak up for me if he has to? So stuff like that.
Characteristics definitely play a huge part. Your mentality, how you think. If you're one of those kind of people where you lack common sense, you're immature, how could I feel safe with you? How do I know that you have my best interest at heart when it comes to certain situations?
Right.
So why would I?
Yeah, I think I don't know. For me, that's a big component. I think every man should make a woman feel safe, especially if they're out or if you, why should you feel unsafe?
Right.
You feel me? Just being a man, no woman should feel unsafe.
Have you been in a situation where a female voiced to you that she was not she didn't feel safe or she didn't feel right to submit to you, both in general or sexually or anything like that?
Nah, no. I'm not even speaking sexual, but in general, no. Because I feel like not that I make it my business to make women. I just think it goes without saying. I just think it's part of my characteristic.
Right, exactly.
I feel like people around me should feel warm, welcome, and safe, and I just think that's part of my personality. So I never had that issue. So I don't know. For me, that just goes without saying.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so say you were in a situation where you wanted, everyone has their own point of view of things and want certain things or whatever. And she doesn't feel 100% comfortable. Would you how would you take that? How would you handle that situation?
Good question. Give me an example. How don't she feel 100% comfortable?
Okay, being vulnerable. That's one.
Okay.
Being able to express herself to you and open up.
Okay, that's a good example because I've been through that before. And I think with that, you fight fire with fire. You just, if the other person can't be vulnerable, then you allow yourself to be vulnerable. You show that I'm being vulnerable, so it's okay for you to be vulnerable. Like, I think that's the answer to that. And it might not happen immediately, but you're showing this person that you're making an effort. Like, you know what I'm saying? So maybe eventually they'll make the effort to open up and be vulnerable.
Right.
Like, so I think, yeah, that's how I would approach that. What about you?
As you said, of course, it's something that does take time. It's not something that happens overnight. But of course, if I can show that I can be in that space and allow for you to see me in, in that state, then, it should show like I'm comfortable. So you can feel safe. It's okay to be comfortable as well.
Yeah.
It can't be one-sided, because if it's one-sided, then it's like, okay, well, I'm still not 100% sure or comfortable enough to even show you that side. So you have to create that environment.
If it's one-sided, I feel like you're just cheating yourself. I mean, whatever. None of us are perfect, but if a person is showing you, they're opening up to you and giving you the floor to be vulnerable and show a different side of you, and you don't do it, or you don't make an effort.
That's a question mark for me. That's another thing. Like, that's a huge question mark.
What do you mean?
And I mean, I've been in situations where it wasn't even like in a relationship or anything, but it was more so like in a friendship. For me, it was more so of I was able to bring that wall down and invite you into that kind of space. So the fact that you were unable to, now I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if it's because like, you're just trying to figure out, what's going on like with me, or is it genuine, like, for me, it's a question mark, because now I don't feel, now I'm thinking and I'm just like, okay, well, one, how can I even like bond off of anything like with that towards you? And I'm expressing something very personal.
Right. Yeah. It might have been an ungenuine situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just a person trying to figure you out or something like that. But let's talk about the best instance, the best possible scenario. I feel like if a person is like showing you, making an effort, showing you themselves, then eventually that person, the other person will open up to you. Like, but I have another question. Do you feel like money like ties into a person being submissive?
It can, but it all depends on the person and if they allow it to. Like, there are some people who are in situations where, they're with a person who makes more than them, and because of that, or they don't have nothing to fall back on or whatever, they will allow this person to, say whatever, do whatever, and they'll obey.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's unfortunate, but you choose that life. That's on you. Yeah. But of course, I feel like people shouldn't be taken advantage of because of money. But, people are in situations like that where they're controlled by that. And they're in relationships because of that. And they can't get out because they have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I hear what you're saying, but I feel like, I kind of feel like I've been the person outside of that, looking into that. Like, I know people that are with people just for money.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's genuinely being submissive. They're only there because they can be taken care of. But still, I still like they're still yearning for the other characteristics of a real man. Someone that makes them feel safe, like, and all that, all the stuff that we mentioned. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I just think that's like disingenuous. Like,
yeah, I get it. And also thinking about it like culturally too, like some people come from certain backgrounds where the husband, regardless, he's the head of the household. He is the authority. He is the person that you have to like obey and submit to what he says goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I didn't even think about culturally.
culturally too, because coming from, you know, my background,
yeah,
I have lots of aunts and uncles who still believe in that, like, mind state, regardless. You know, their husband, they, whatever, make X amount of money, it doesn't even matter. But at the end of the day, you decided you wanted to marry this person. Now you have to understand he is here.
right.
And you are here.
Right. So, all right, with that being said, even, all right, let's say the man culturally doesn't have those characteristics to make a woman want to volunteer herself to be submissive, how we was just talking about, but he makes the money. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's right? Like, or I don't know, what's your take?
None of it is right. I don't feel like none of it is right at the end of the day.
I kind of feel that way too. Like,
it's messed up, and you know, it kind of sucks that, you know, especially coming from like a, you know, cultural background where people still have that mind state, and some women still have that mind state. They're gonna go buy it because that's what they were raised and taught, and there's not, you know, if there's conditioned to think that way.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of that.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're right because it does. I didn't think culturally, but it does exist culturally. But I don't know. I feel like that leaves room for that person to like yearn and look for the real characteristics of a woman wanting to be submissive. Once again, for me, it just goes without saying. Like, if you think about, I don't know, if you think about, let's say, I don't know, this is an assumption, but Lauren London and Nipsey Hussle, like, to me, my opinion, like, Nipsey Hussle don't seem like the dude, like, yo, you got to listen to me, you got to do this. He was just who he was.
Exactly.
And without saying, their relationship flowed how it flowed.
Absolutely.
Or if you think about, like, I don't know, like a real one, like 50, like, you think about these type of dudes, like, I don't see them being like, yo, boom, this is what it is, I'm laying the... It just goes without saying.
Right,
and women, like, identify with that. Absolutely. And they... For me, that's what it is. I feel like that's what it should be. And,
no, definitely.
I never want to be in a position where a woman is being submissive than them reasons, than her buying into the person that I am and feeling like she can be this way or these ways with me.
No, definitely.
If it ain't that, then I don't want it. Like
100%.
And do you feel like, another question, or a follow-up question, since we're talking about money, do you feel like you can be submissive to a person that makes less than you?
I can.
Yeah.
I feel like regardless, it doesn't have to necessarily deal with money. It's more so of the person and how you make me feel.
Right, I agree.
Know? If I'm 100% comfortable, you make me feel great. I don't have nothing to like worry about, and I'm confident within my relationship. Absolutely, why not?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Because if I'm feeling insecure and I'm not, you know, I don't feel confident or anything like that, then see, now there's a problem.
Yeah.
How do you expect for me to submit to anything that you want me to? And
yeah, I feel you.
I'm not there.
I agree with you. So why do you feel like so many people like put like this negative stamp on being submissive or the word dominant? Oh, matter of fact, I have a better question. With everything that we was just talking about, do you think it's a person, because being submissive kind of exists in everybody. I feel like it just takes a person to bring it out of you.
The right person.
So do you feel like it's a person being dominant or it's a person being submissive that is like, which one is the one that needs to be tapped into, if that makes sense? Like,
submissive.
Submissive?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because, okay, regardless, I feel like everybody has that in them to be, a dominant, whatever individual. It just depends on your role, whatever in the relationship or your roles.
Okay.
So it should be more focused on being submissive. Because, both can be dominant individuals in a relationship. I don't feel like one has to be higher than the other. It's just a level of respect.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's both in different ways, because you can be dominant at one thing that I'm not necessarily dominant at.
Okay.
And then vice versa. Like I can be
what?
better at like, okay, I'll talk about my experience. I'm not the most handy dude. She's more handy than me. Like, you feel me? Like, even though that's a man, whatever, but I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt my ego or nothing. Like, she's better with tools than me.
Right.
But I might be better at something else than her. She might be better at this than me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that makes sense. Okay. I just feel like it's just like, and for me, I don't know. Everybody may not be able to accept that, but I do. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't know.
Can you see, well, do you even have an issue with being submissive to a woman? Because I know some males have issues with submitting to a woman and they feel like they're suckers or, it's beneath them to do that.
Define a male being submissive to a woman.
Okay, so say it could be just something like as far as she doesn't like something a certain way or whatever, but it's not more so of her like trying to tell you what to do, whatever. She's just expressing like, this is what I don't like. Now, can you like accept it and, also work on it and fix it or whatever? Or are you going to take it as, oh, she's trying to tell me what to do?
Nah, I think that's a good question. But I think it also depends on how it plays out. You feel me? Because you can say something. It's not always what you say. It's how you say it.
Right.
You feel me? So I guess it depends as how it's said or whatever. But yeah, like if something bothers you and I know it doesn't make you happy or whatever, then I'll make the adjustments to, make you happy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But once again, I think it's how it's done or how it plays out. That'll make me feel like if I want to do it or not.
Okay.
What do you think?
Speaking from like a female's perspective, I just feel like it's just simply me voicing how I feel or my my likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
And just coming to understand like this is who I am and accept it. It's not me necessarily. Like you said, it's always about how you say things, So if I'm not being like a jerk about something and I'm letting you know respectfully, then, you should also have respect for what I'm saying and take it into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like what we're talking about is the norm. But I feel like to a lot of people, it's not the norm is because they're dealing with them insecurities or them power struggles. I feel like the men that, you got to do this, I'm not with this, it's a power struggle. There's something there that you're not 100% confident with or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and then, of course, with society today, women are, they're bosses. They're out here. They're doing what they need to do. Right. And they're doing a lot of things that a lot of males aren't. Yeah. So that also plays a part with, like, a mental thing. Yeah. So being that they feel like, okay, well, I'm in this status. I'm here. I'm not about to sit here and let you like try to control me or tell me what to do or anything like that. Like
as a woman,
right? Like I'm independent, but as
a woman,
right? Exactly. Right? So that also plays a part as far as why I feel people are thinking of it like in a negative way too, only because of like there are women who feel like, you can't tell me what to do at the end of the day. I make this much amount of money. I'm successful. I'm this. Like, now you gotta, it's either you get with the program or get left, buddy.
I'm glad you said that. Because to go a little bit back, number one, as a man, as a real man, I would champion that. Like, I'm proud. Like, I'm happy for you. That's number one. Number two, with what you're just saying, with the attitude that a lot of women have, which is cool. But I be seeing through that because a lot of real women, and I'm happy for women feeling that way as y'all should. Like, you feel me? But there's still things that women need.
Absolutely, of course.
Y'all women want to feel protected. At the end of the night, you still want to be held by a man, by a real man. There's certain things, like, you feel me? Like, that's going to allow you to want to volunteer yourself to be submissive to a man. Like, so all that boss talk and all that, I love it. But sometimes I'll be seeing through it. Sometimes I just feel like it's just for, okay, talk that
it's
talk.
Just talking, right?
That's cool. But at the end of the day, you still want a real man to lay up under, you feel me? You still want a real man to go out with and feel protected and feel safe. And all of these characteristics that real men provide, y'all still want that. Y'all can act like y'all don't.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, 100% right.
You know
no, 100%. Because, me, I'm tired of being, or feeling like I can't be my feminine self. I always have to be very masculine because, I can't submit to, I can't submit to certain men. Yeah. And like you said, it takes a certain specific kind of person in order for you to want to be able to be submissive. Yeah. So, of course I want somebody to, I don't always want to be hard. I want somebody where, I can be, my feminine self. I can be vulnerable. I can, take a step back. Like, you take charge.
Yeah. And I feel like not even just for women, but for men too. I feel like when we can tap into that, when we find someone that allows us to tap into that, it brings out the best in us. Like, you don't have to walk around with a chip on your shoulder. Exactly. Or men, we don't got to walk around like we got something to prove or we have to lay these ground rules. Like, no, we can just be ourselves, an unspoken thing, and then we can be our best selves together. I feel like that's once again, for me, it's just an unspoken, it should be an unspoken thing. And that's what it is for me.
Right. Okay, so on a, intimate level, do you have an issue with females, taking charge, or ever had an issue with a female taking charge or not? Give
me an example.
Okay, so, you're basically submitting to her and what she, likes and wants and everything.
How though? Like how? I feel like there's levels.
Okay, well, say they're into toys or something and, they want you to partake in that. Okay. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't have anything wrong with, everyone is different. So if you do different things to please your partner, that's cool. I just know what I'm into and what I'm not into. So yeah, so
it's like, no, it isn't. Okay.
There's certain things I'm into and there's certain things I'm not into. Okay. There's certain things I'm willing to try and I'm open to. And then there's certain things I'm just not with.
Okay. So what about vice versa?
What do you mean?
So say, okay, on an intimate level, you're with a person and you have your, your likings, your wants, your needs, and
they're not with it.
They're against certain things. Yeah. Is there a way to convincing, or you're like, okay, whatever, that's fine. Or
that's a good question. I never really experienced anything that was like a deal breaker for me. Like, you feel me? So I would probably, if you're not with doing something, it's cool. Whatever. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say you're more of the dominant 99? Well, 50% of the time, 75% of the time, or?
Good question. I'm probably, majority of the time I probably am, but I'm still open to being submissive in certain ways. Yeah, submissive in certain ways. But I just think from my characteristics, I'm probably more dominant. But once again, how we was just talking about, it's not like a dominant, yo, you got to do what I say.
Right.
It's just like a vibe. You feel me?
Dominant is such a strong word. Yeah. That's the thing. So
I think that's why people take it out of context.
Right, exactly.
It's such a strong word. But for me, it's just it's more of a vibe. It's not like you got to do what I say. Right. It's just more of a, you feel me?
Exactly.
And that's how I feel like it should be.
I agree.
What about you?
I would say the person, I prefer for them to be at least 75%, dominant, and then,
get your little 25% off.
Exactly. I don't, I like to have my moments in my time where, but as long as there's an exchange, that's fine. We both are, pleasing each other and attending to our needs. So I feel like that's important. It shouldn't just be one side or one hand. Granted, some people like that, whatever, cool. But, that's just my preference.
Yeah. Yeah, you just hit something on the nose. I feel like that's a vibe. When it's an exchange, know what I mean? Boom, a person might be dominant at this, but all right, let's switch it up and be submissive at that. And you know what I mean? That's when it flows.
Right. Well, and I feel like that's how you keep the spark. Things get
boring.
Boring. You gotta spice it up.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. It should be an exchange.
Right.
Thing.
And it's just I'm more of an open-minded person. I can't speak for others that aren't, but I know like for some males it could be like an ego thing, or it could partake into like insecurities where they feel like they have to be like the dominant one in everything.
Okay.
You
Yeah, that's a problem, yo.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
If you're not, you should be comfortable with who you are.
Yeah.
If a real man is comfortable with who he is, then he wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, I always say that. As long as you're comfortable with yourself.
Once again, for me, that's a power trip. That's a power struggle. Have you ever experienced that in a relationship or with a person?
Or tried to. Yes, and it was a whole turn off for me. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, if anything, you're being selfish.
Right.
Like
So the person felt like they had something to prove.
Right. And I'm just like, you're being selfish at the end of the day. I feel like you're just more into your world and don't care about like anything.
Right.
So no, it just didn't work anyway. So of course, like I said, I feel like for me, I have to be with an individual who I know will just create this whole environment for me in order for me to be able to be all these things and do all these things, you know.
And that's how it should be. Like, a lot of people are cheating themselves out of a good time, yo. A lot of dudes.
It is.
A lot of women too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like you should definitely get to know the person that you taking it there with, their likes and dislikes, and then just like be open to being that.
Right.
Feel me? Like, if you're not, you cheating yourself.
Right, absolutely. Communication is definitely key when it comes to just that whole thing also. I feel like it plays a part because closed mouth don't get fed.
Yeah.
You're going to sit here and be quiet about something that, you know, you like or dislike or whatever. How do you expect for a person to attend those?
Right. That's true. Needs? That's a good point too.
So, yeah. Okay, well, tell us what you guys think in the comments. Do you feel like, being submissive is a terrible thing, or do you feel like it is a great thing and it's important? You know, let us know. Thank you guys for tuning in.
We see y'all at the next video, all right? Appreciate y'all.